Villa Park Football Ground, 2015. As crowds gather, the mood starts to get ugly. Not by the fans, but from the police officers tasked with crowd control. Brian Alden captures the moment when he first encounters PC Paul Knowles. That one strike hit the cameraman so hard it fractured his hand. PC Knowles, the officer responsible, claimed that he hit Mr. Alden because the light from the mobile phone was blinding him. There was no provocation from Mr. Alden and no warning from PC Knowles, nor was there any remorse, as when Mr. Alden attempted to complain to another officer, he was told he'd have to find an inspector before his complaint could be lodged. Palpable nonsense, as any officer can take down a complaint at any time, even when that complaint is made on the street. Eventually, after much persistence, West Midlands Police were compelled to record the complaint. After investigation, the IPCC, as it then was, upheld the complaint, stating, "The overhead downward baton strike luckily connected with a green strike area, which could just as easily have connected with a red area and resulted in a fatal injury." Now, before the naysayers start preaching that this is proof that the police complaints process is sometimes effective, let me point out that as a result of the officer's actions, his only sanction was to undergo management action. A nebulous expression for who knows what, as the police aren't actually obliged to explain in detail what penalties the officers incurred as a result of an upheld complaint. In all probability, management action consists of empty platitudes, a word in the officer's ear to be more careful in future. Yeah, be more careful not to get caught. Not that Knowles would have listened, because, as it turned out, he had 24 prior complaints of excessive force that had been made against him over the years. And each time where the complaints hadn't been swept under the carpet, PC Knowles was allowed to continue his duties unabated, incurring no other penalty except management action. At no point did West Midlands Police accept that they had a very dangerous and unhinged individual in their employ. Each time, PC Knowles was turned around and sent back on the street to interact with the general public. Just how many complaints can a police officer accrue, even for very serious offences, before the police will bother to take action? As a police officer's complaint record can only be obtained as part of the disclosure process of civil court proceedings, then we can never really know. Mr. Alden's profession was panel beater. The injury sustained to his hand took him out of work immediately. He required multiple operations to his hand, but recurring pain and lack of grip strength eventually placed him on the unemployment line. Here's Mr. Alden's take on the incident. "I went to a football game in 2015, a regular thing for me, and I never had a problem. That night my life changed forever because a person I believed was there to protect me turned out to be a violent predator, a liar, and a person hiding behind his position as a police officer. After his violent and unprovoked attack, I've been left a broken and changed man. Not only did this police officer leave me with injuries that have stolen my livelihood, he has left me with mental scars that I don't know will ever disappear." A month before the case went to trial, solicitor Ian Gould obtained a settlement from West Midlands Police to the tune of £358,000 in damages. This figure reflected the fact that the injury had left Mr. Alden unemployed for a number of years, and he's permanently unable to return to his qualified field of work. In fact, the reason the claim took so long to settle was to ascertain whether or not Mr. Alden's hand would heal and whether or not he'd be able to return to work. After an unsuccessful operation on his hand in 2018 and a further operation in 2019, it was finally determined that his hand would never return to normal. As well as admitting liability, West Midlands also gave Mr. Alden that rarest token of police contrition, an official apology. It is accepted that this incident caused a serious injury to your hand as well as a post-traumatic stress disorder, and that you have not taken any action that might have provoked this use of force. During the course of your civil claim, West Midlands Police admitted that the use of force was unlawful and we would like to offer you an unreserved apology for what our officer did to you. Not so sorry that the officer himself was held to account, as once again PC Knowles got to keep his job. This time, so it is alleged, behind a desk. Probably less as a precautionary measure to protect the public, but so that he can retire from the force with his reputation and pension fully intact. Yes, when it comes to protecting the public over protecting an officer's employment, the officer wins almost every time.